Now the feds are playing their games again. Turn the computer off, lights go back on. It's Kazmarchik curse. Talk about love and the feds shut it down. Watching Electra, by the way, it's an interesting movie. Nothing to do with the Oedipal story, Greek story. Marvel Comics confuses all those issues rather quickly, don't they? Drinking tequila. Tequila, it's kind of like a tequila coffee. It's a variation of Irish coffee. We use a little tequila, a little powdered Nestle Nescafe coffee, and sugar. Funny thing about sugar and tequila, sugar does tend to make tequila stronger. So, looking back at my confessions and my issues, I'm thinking about the release of these things, how to release them. Perhaps the world is not ready for my confessions. Finally writing it though. Pedophile Jesus, that's the one I was going to write it. The title was going to be I Pedophile, Yo Pedofilo, Pedophile Jesus. It's my experience with pedophilia. Certainly, as far as experiences, it's the most difficult to talk about, most dangerous to talk about, because people will try to kill you for that shit. That's no joke. I don't want to die murdered by my thoughts. If I do, by the way, it's okay. It's just what it is. Being martyred for one's beliefs, is one of the greatest paths to glory in spiritual realms. But you know, the whole JC, the whole way of JC, the sacrifice part of it, I'm not so crazy about pain and suffering of it. I don't think old Jesus was all that crazy about it either. When he did this Last Supper at the mountain, I think he saw maybe that it would be a little painful. And he gave God the choice. He said, you know, thy will be done, not mine. And that's really admirable. Because if he knew what was going to happen, why would he let it happen, right? Especially if it was such a painful thing to happen. That's the crutch. That's the essence of the whole holy message. But then there's Judas. If he knew that Judas was going to betray him, and he could afford Judas not to do that, could have told Judas, you know what, chill out. And he didn't. What does that say about free will? Are we so destined to do certain things, to act in certain ways, that we are unable or incapable of making a decision for ourselves? Every interest in his, I think he loved Judas, I think Judas loved him. So his interest for love of Judas was subdued or was subjugated to his love for God, which is pretty intense considering that God also killed the firstborn of the Egyptians and he did a whole bunch of other stuff that was not all that cool. It's just the way it is. You can't justify God's actions because you're not yours to justify. You know, if Richie Postli murdered all his brothers because they were trying to kill his mom, well, that's just the way it was. That's just what had to happen. I don't think he enjoyed killing his brothers. I don't think it was a pleasurable thing to do to kill all your brothers. But if they were trying to get your mom dead, yeah, maybe you had to do it. Maybe that was the point. In the Bhagavatam, we uh, we get an idea of the length to which these incarnations go to express their love of God and their relationship to God, the different rasas, different tastes of relationship to God, which somehow culminates in a conjugal relationship with God, which is pretty fracking amazing if you think about it. You get to that conjugal relationship with God through celibacy. So all the pedophile priests that rape little kids won't probably get there. Uh, because they already had their share. I don't know. It's weird. Are we searching for purity, or are we searching for the ultimate kick in terms of sensual experience as religious persons? Is the search for God as a conjugal? I mean, the promise of the Hare Krishnas is that if you pray to Krishna and you do your thing, you become a gopi in Goloka Vrindavan, which means you have a kind of romance with Krishna, which is the highest form of allotation and love for God. That's amazing. It's pretty freaking amazing. That's quite a twist on the 72 versions from the Muslims. But it's still related to sex and to sexuality and to erotic endeavors. I mean, what's the flavor of a relationship to God as a woman to a man? Pretty intense, I would imagine. All shamans know their bisexuality intricately because they understand beyond any doubt that they're not this body, which means that the very essence of having a penis, for instance, is a fantasy, it's an illusion. You don't really have a penis, or a vagina, or an ass, or eyes, or ears, or nose, or body, ears. In one of my mushroom trips, I got really tripped out on what exactly was the function of a penis. It's like, what is this thing? Why does it exist? It's like a mushroom. The penis and the mushroom are very related organisms, related organs. The mushroom actually is the colony under the earth, not the little thing that comes out like a penis. That is the reproductive organ of the colony under the earth. Wow, that was a revelation. And it's a scientific revelation. It's a thing you can actually study. The mycelium, the mushroom, is a collective organism. There's not one mushroom, it's a colony of mushrooms, and they're collective. And they kind of have all these little things that pop out, which are reproductive organs. They're the spores that are going to be blasting out. Is a mushroom cloud a reproductive organ for some type of consciousness or some type of thing we can't even imagine? Probably not. There's some very toxic mushrooms out there, and certainly the radioactive cloud of Hiroshima and Nagasaki would be that. Now, the mushrooms grow on our dead bodies when we die. We let our body in the ground to rot. And the first organisms that we'll be feeding from is our mushrooms. That's a pretty freaky thought. Where would we eat? And what does all this have to do with my reality right now? Well, this house that you see here, I have to leave it in about 5 days. I can actually leave it any time because I already rented another place, but theoretically I have to leave it 5 days. The place that I rented, I have discovered through a lot of interrogations of a lot of different people, so it's overpriced. I'm upset about that. I'm kind of resigned to it, but not that resigned, because I can also look for another place. And I think I have to have a conversation with Mariana about those issues and say, look, man, I may have a gringo face, but I'm not going to be. No me vas a ver la cara de gringo, you're not going to see my gringo face. It's saying in Spanish, but not English in Spanish. Mexicans abuse of the gringos when they're here. It's a fact. They abuse of their way of thinking because they can apply a much darker psychology to their transactions. Kind of sad. What else? I don't know. You guys want to help me out to make Mexico the 52nd state? Or to take over the Pentagon with the Zapatistas? Or any number of ideas on the political side? Chaos is arriving whether we want it or not. And who survives the chaos will probably be what determines what the future of this whole thing is. The chaos has to do with the supply and demand of food and clean water. And if you poison all the water sources, all the clean water sources, and you kill all the animals that you can eat, well, people will be starving and they'll be having violent reactions to that. You know, as far as poverty and income and growth and all those things, well, those are fallacies of the system that have not been addressed because there is not enough time to address them. The crisis is too soon. It's too evident. Cities are running out of water. Cuernavaca and Tepoztlán will probably be the first cities to run out of water. So the chaos would probably start here. You know, the Tepoztecos are already very deep about it. They're very violent in their way of organizing their society because they have to be. Because that's the way they keep the mobs out of shit. You know, it's the softies that don't get it. About personal freedoms and all that shit. Well, you know, that only works as long as you don't get killed by anybody doing it. Basically, the basic premise of personal freedoms is get away with whatever you can. Do what you can. Do what you must. Do what you must. My dad and my mom have always worked on that presumption. My aunt actually not. My aunt is the other way around. She does what she feels she must, not what she must. She's slightly different. But she likes material things. And my mom and my dad don't. Not really. Well, my dad doesn't. But he got kind of addicted to it. But he's lived without it, so he knows what's up with that. He knows that he doesn't need it. In a 2x2 cell, in a jail, anywhere in the world, you come to realize that you don't need much to survive other than not to have a stick up your ass. And, yeah. Curses and blessings, well, my blessings go out to all of you guys, always. My curses go out to specific members of you guys when you actually do things to piss me off. I think it's only fair, right? And why would I be pissed off if I'm such an enlightened schmuck? Because even Jesus had his moment of, you know, money changers at the temple. You gotta be able to defend your turf. And your physical integrity. That's a big one. Especially out here. Not everybody does it. I can see how people call to themselves chaos by their acts. I'm the first one to do it. What's next? What follows? I don't know. I can't tell you that. I'm working. I have a place to live. So I got two of the big three down, right? I'm not in a significant relationship. It's just a fact. I got my mom to take care of, my sister, my nieces and nephew. But if they don't need me, they were not to need me, I probably would I be looking for a relationship? No. Why? Because I'm selfish. Or is that my racket? Is that where I racket myself into thinking about it? I don't know. I haven't had sex in so long. I think I forgot how to do it. Thank God for pornos. But yeah, it's all about that. It's all the same thing. My dad, I should see my dad. I haven't called my. He hasn't written to me in a long time. I don't know what's going on with him. I'm worried about my dad. He usually writes at least once a month or twice a month. He hasn't written anything in a long time. So I should call him and see what's going on. I will call him. Find out what's going on. Do that tomorrow. In fact, I'll do that tomorrow. I'll spend some money on that call. I have to. There's a public phone right over here on the road, which I can use instead of my cell phone, which is extremely expensive. Sasha will. She sent me a beautiful Valentine's John Fahey thing, which is kind of her way to say, "Hey, I love you." Nice way. Okay. Wishing got elected to be a submariner or something, and I asked her what the fuck it meant. She didn't answer me back. Renata, well, she's Renata. She'll be fine. She'll be doing her thing. Whatever her thing is. I'm gonna write. I'm gonna get myself my pipe, leave the TV on. I'm gonna get to write because this blog thing is nice. It's very nice. It can get me inspired, but it's not writing. Writing is writing. The writer's right. Talk about it. We tell stories through the written word. Tell stories through the written word. They write stories about things and people. Oh, somebody stole my frickin' lighter. I don't think I have a candle here. I'm in trouble. Yeah, Mom takes lighters. So I gotta find the lighter. Find the lighter. Hello, gotta poo too. That's gonna be even harder. I don't think he's about it anyways. Gotta go find the lighter, fellas. That's the next step in my evolution. Thank God for whiskey.